You may think this isn't necessary because we're outside, but it's the ritual, it's the symbolism, the energy. We're labeling some body oils outside, and we're gonna talk about authenticity. Authenticity, the quality of being authentic. Oh, so helpful. Authentic, undisputed origin, genuine. The degree to which a person's actions are congruent with their values and desires despite external pressures to social conformity. That's a good one. Authenticity. This is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about. And, the word authenticity and be authentic is thrown around a lot. And people make it sound simple and easy. But honestly, being fully authentic, being fully dedicated to yourself and your truth is actually really hard in this world and really scary and takes a lot of courage and a lot of confidence and a lot of self-trust and self-acceptance. There is so much pressure to socially conform, even if we don't realize it. It is deeply ingrained in us to go with the status quo. This is really hard to multitask because you want them to be perfect. It is deeply ingrained in us to fit in, to want to be part of the group and be accepted and be liked and be welcomed into the tribe. I mean, that's what we thought safety was. That's what we thought we had to do. But we are no longer living in that kind of society. And this does not mean that we want to be too individualistic and too independent, because I think our society is now strayed in that way. But it's still because we want to keep up appearances and be a certain way. And it's still not about just being ourselves and being authentic and true to who we are. Being authentic takes courage, it takes confidence, it takes compassion. And it also requires you to be intuitive, because we can't think our way into being authentic. We can't control or force or figure out who we are. Then we're still living from our minds. We're still letting something outside of ourselves dictate who we are and how to be and how to show up. Being authentic requires us to really lean into trust and just allow ourselves to be and see what comes through from that, what comes from that. Authenticity comes from an ease within ourselves and an ability to just embody our essence. It takes intentionality, because often our autopilot mode is to control or contort in order to fit in and keep up appearances and be liked and stay safe and small and unseen, or seen, but only in a very specific way. And so we have to intentionally decide to disconnect from that. We have to intentionally choose to get curious with who we thought we were and be open to learning more about who we actually are. It forces you to question everything and give yourself space to surprise yourself. Give yourself space for you to come through. We have to stay open to not understanding who we are. We have to stay open to changing, because when we're authentic, we're always changing. And I think part of us wanting to control our expression of ourselves is because we want it to be understood. We want it to be safe and explainable and predictable. And authenticity requires us to get comfortable with changing and with not knowing who we are sometimes, with not knowing what we're going to want or what life is going to look like. And we have to get comfortable with other people not understanding us and not being able to control or predict or this one's still not right. Allow yourself to evolve and transform and become someone that you might not understand yet or ever. You don't need to be understood. You don't need to be able to control and predict and perfect yourself and explain yourself and understand yourself. You only need to accept yourself and be curious and open and willing to trust yourself. Authentically, we are all nuanced. We are all uncontrollable, uncategorizable. We are all contradictions. And you have to be compassionate to be authentic, because there are going to be parts of yourself that you were previously told weren't okay, or that you have to feel shame about or embarrassed about. And in order to be fully authentic, you have to accept, embrace, welcome in those parts of yourselves. And so you need to be compassionate with yourself. And that might feel really uncomfortable, that might feel really unsafe. But the more you practice that, and the more you sit with that uncomfortability and choose to accept yourself anyway, choose to love yourself anyway, choose to take care of yourself anyway, it gets easier. We have to be open to seeing parts of ourselves that we previously ostracized. And you have to bring the tools around you so that you can feel safe in that process, so that you can take care of yourself as you transition to living more fully, authentically, and fully yourself and fully alive. How can you create safety within yourself and in your life for all parts of you to be seen? Being truly confident means being confident in all parts of you and in the truth of who you are. Not being falsely confident in the perfected, poised, curated version of you that you might show to the world. My favorite phrase is grounded confidence. To me, this means embodying who I am with ease, feeling comfortable and safe within myself, going about the world without needing external validation or needing to prove myself or achieve anything outside of myself or explain myself to people, without needing anything outside myself to love myself, to embrace, accept all of who I am, and to bring that energy with me wherever I go. The grounded aspect, it's a confidence with ease. Like someone can be sitting there and not doing anything, but you can just tell that they like themselves. You can just tell that they're confident in who they are. The world is constantly telling us who we should be, how we should look, what we should do, how we should act. We have to have the courage to say, I am going to be exactly as I am. Let yourself be revealed to you. Create space for yourself to come forward. Surprise yourself. And so much of this is about getting out of our heads and into our bodies. Not overthinking things, not needing to have a logical explanation for why something feels right for us or why we are feeling pulled towards something. Letting your body take the lead. Again, coming back to that passenger consciousness that we talked about in a previous video. Being ourselves should be so simple. It should be just natural, but the world has made it so difficult. Our true, wild, unedited, unfiltered selves have been watered down and conditioned and controlled and shamed. It shouldn't take courage to be authentically ourselves, and yet it does. And we need to do it anyway. In fact, that's why we need to do it even more. One of my favorite quotes of all time that I repeat to myself often is that if the path before you is clear, it's probably not your own. And some people may authentically choose more clear-cut, paved paths, like if you want to be a doctor or a dentist or whatever, But still, the path shouldn't be clear. No one's path should be clear because we all are walking our own unique paths. And even though it's scary to not know what's coming and to feel like we don't have control, the fact is we don't know what's coming and we don't have control. And that is part of being human. That's part of why we're here. In order to truly show up as we are and to truly be authentic and live out our purpose, our path, we have to be willing for it to be uncomfortable and to not know. For me, it was often hard for me to know who I was and to know how to show up authentically. I learned early on in life that if I stayed quiet and appeasable, more people would like me. And so I did. And I think it was very easy for me to take on the qualities of other people around me, having an open identity center in human design. Then I started to realize that I didn't like that. It didn't feel good to not fully be myself, but I still didn't know how to show up as myself around people who were expecting me to be different. And so I just kind of shut myself off from the world. I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to be fully seen. So I just isolated more. I spent a lot of time by myself. And also I needed the space to really figure out who I was and to figure out what parts of me were coming from other people and what was fully myself. And that space by myself and more silence and more stillness and more time to be curious and just get to know myself was so important for me. And now I know myself so well. Theo, again, being authentic isn't something that you want to overthink or control. Being authentic isn't something that you want to think about. It's something that should just come up and come through you. But some practices to help you align with that more and to give space for that to come through is spend more time by yourself, spend more time in silence, spend more time being curious about what it is you truly want and how you truly feel and what decision it is you truly want to make instead of just switching onto autopilot mode and assuming that you are the same as you were before or not questioning your decisions and your autopilot actions. Journaling. Journaling is like a conversation with yourself or sending yourself voice notes. Just start talking to yourself. Start having a relationship with yourself. They say that the relationship with yourself is the most important one you'll have. It's the only one that you'll have every single day of your life, every single second of your life. And yet, so many of us don't actually have any sort of relationship with ourselves at all. We never talk to ourselves. We never check in with ourselves. We don't have any connection to ourselves. So just start forming that in new ways. And also get curious about the times and the spaces and the places and the people where you feel like you can't be authentic or it feels more challenging or you feel anxiety or activation or triggers around that, and just ask yourself why. Get curious. Curiosity, confidence, compassion, courage, and curiosity. That's what it takes to be authentic. Theo? Yeah, you're the star of every show, bud. You're the star of every show. I love you.